Welcome to the Dear Lovejoy podcast, and today it's another special.
Woohoo!
Today's conversation is going to be with Chris Ramsay, stand-up comic, own TV show, the Chris Ramsay Show. I really like Chris. He's one of those guys that when we know he's booked on for Sunday brunch, Simon and myself go, yeah, thank God for that, because we just know he's funny, he's quick, he's just a nice guy. He's like, yeah, what a good person to get around. He gets the atmosphere going. When you're on a TV show, you always look at guys who are going to get the atmosphere going, and he's one of those guys. You've known him for quite a few years, haven't you?
Yeah. And I used to produce radio and sort of TV comedy sort of back in the day, and that was when he was emerging. And I saw his. He'll talk about this affirmation. I saw him, and it was in, as he says, it was like a porter cabin. You don't realise when you go to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Some shows are in theatres. Some shows are in sports halls where they put that rake seating up as like a temporary thing. And some of them are literally in a porter cabin, smaller than this kitchen, like the same size as this kitchen. And you just sit round, and it was such a good show.
And I always feel when you see someone early in their career and they start doing well.
He was really good back even then, though.
Yeah.
He was really good.
You sort of just want to support them, don't you? And
yeah.
as they're going on, you're like, yeah, he's getting bigger and bigger.
And you never have that thing with comedians. You never have that. You know, with bands, they sucked. I like their first album. Yeah, that thing. You know, with him, it's just like you want him to do well because he's really good and he's such a nice fella. Well,
this is him. He's got a lot to say, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy this.
It's very good.
Many funny moments.
This is just a guide to modern life. Modern life is hard to get just right. It can frustrate you and annoy. And if it does, right into Dear Lovejoy.
Hey Chris, thanks for coming into my kitchen. How are you this morning?
Honestly, I'm fantastic. So happy to be here. A lovely house.
I've got you a present. I get all my guests a present, and it's a nice bottle of wine. You can tell that because it's wrapped in tissue paper.
Yeah. Is it? I can't tell the paper's red, but is it red or white?
It's you can open it if you want. It's a red. Do you know anything? Do you know anything about wine?
I know that my wife likes it.
Right, well, it's a nice one.
Tell you what, let's put it to the test, mate.
Oh,
I've got an app that tells us how good your wine is.
Oh dear.
Right,
okay.
So Tim Lovejoy's podcast, he says it's a good wine. We're going to open Vivino.
What would you say is a good wine and a good price then?
Oh well, I'm not sure. My wife does the wine buying. Let's have a look. This is like googling someone present in front of you.
I know.
Let's have a look. Right, it's found it. How many stars it got? 3.6. That's really good for that wine app because everyone's a dickhead.
Right.
That's really good. 3.6. £18.15. Oh my goodness me.
I paid more than that.
Did you really? It's because you live in London, mate.
I paid more than that. It's not bad though, is it? 20 quid bottle of wine.
2012. Look at that. Mate, honestly, me and my wife are banging into red wine now.
Okay.
I know I shouldn't be. I know I should be a northern beer drinker. But I drink craft beer now, and me and my wife love red wine, and that does look really nice.
Is that 3.6 out of 5, by the way?
Yes, but you've got no idea how bad that wine app is for rating them, like the best wine in the world, and someone's always going, it's a bit hard on the palate. 1 star.
Do you drink a lot these days? Or
weirdly, I drink a lot. I drink regularly, but not a lot. So I'll have a glass of wine a night, probably, if I'm at home chilling, or after a gig, I'll have a beer to wind down, because you need it. Like I recorded my show last night, and I've just got like an anxiety headache when I'm finished, like just because I've been hammering it for you know what it's like presenting a show, and it's just like bang bang bang, and then just to have a wind down, just like sleep in the hotel.
What's the comedy circuit like now? Because I imagine years ago, in the glory days of the 70s and 80s, I imagine they all had a drink before they got on stage. Are there still comics doing that?
You know what, mate? I think since you're kind of Jimmy Carr's in that, turning up, making it a business, turning up in a suit and bang bang bang, I think it's really stopped. I've done gigs. Where was it? There was these gigs in the Midlands that used to run in cinemas, right? And there was a lad running them who used to run jongleurs gigs and stuff. And he was like mortified that me and the other comics were driving the gigs. I'll never forget it. He was like, "You've driven here?" And he's like standing there with a pint. It's like 6 o'clock, and he's like, "What do you mean you've driven? Like, I'm not getting on it afterwards." I was like, "No, we're in a cinema in Coventry. I don't know you. I'm not getting on it with you. I'm driving back to Manchester." probably have a beer when I get home. Like he was absolutely, so he's probably from the blooming, drug and drink days of the 90s of the Jonglers and going for it. But, there's a reason none of them boys are, very few of them boys are on TV now because they probably hit it too hard.
Yeah, it was part and parcel of it. As a comic now, where's the thing you're thinking? How are you going to make your money when you think about it? Have you made a lot of money yet? I mean, that's a rude question.
It's a crazy question. I live in the north, so it's a lot more. A lot more in the north.
Because the comics used to turn up and be able to do... There was this glorious period where they'd do a DVD at Christmas and make enough money to basically live forever.
DVDs are dead. It's crazy.
DVDs now are dead.
Completely dead.
So they would do that and they would do a couple of tours and they'd be set up for life, wouldn't they?
It's mad.
It must be harder work now, like the music industry, because the DVD industry just died.
It's crazy. Well, live, right? Live is where it's at. Live. Why do you think you still see... I mean... obviously, you still. I don't want to call anyone out and go, they shouldn't be touring, but you still see people touring who you think, do you really need to do that? Do you really need to do that still? But it's, especially when you're a huge comic, it's so lucrative to tour. It's crazy. I mean, my ticket prices, Tim, are very reasonable. But you see some of these comics and it's crazy. American comics, especially, who still keep touring. You think, like Jerry Seinfeld, he does a massive tour again, and you go, wow, okay. You must just love money. Yeah. Because it's so bad. But then again, Jerry Seinfeld's the one who could probably still sell DVDs. There's a few comics in this country who can still sell DVDs. But it is a dead market. But now you've got Netflix. I've just put one on YouTube. I've just put my last tour. I did it at Newcastle Arena. I've just put it on YouTube. And the people are getting views. And people are buying tickets for the next tour off the back of that. And I'm getting tweets going, I love that. And then they're buying it for the next one. And people who've never heard of us are watching it and then buying. So that's sort of speculative to accumulate in a way.
Social media is brilliant for comics, isn't it?
It's
really?
insane.
It's been fantastic for you guys.
I mean, in a way, there's one thing that I do regret. I wish that I'd started a couple of years later, so I could have caught this YouTube trend and just did it all from my bedroom. Like my house. Do you know what I mean? I've punished my body with motorway service station food for years now, mate. And I would love to have done it all for me. Hey guys, what are we doing today? Oh, I'm going to put this spoonful of cinnamon in my mouth. 1 million views, 30 grand a day. Thank you very much.
But there's
I'm going to play Minecraft.
There's the other side of it, like Micky Flanagan, right? Who I love him. I think he's great. But he does that bit, as you call it, you comics, on Out. And that for him became an internet sensation. It was like his greatest hit. That's like James Blunt's Beautiful or something for him.
Absolutely.
And he must have sold so many tickets and everything. But fortunately, he had material to back it up with because
he's a genius. Yeah, he's an amazing comic.
But then he ends up playing all those huge gigs and stuff, and it just that one thing just captured our imagination.
Do you know what it is, right? There is not many comics now these days, I think, who can say, because people always go to me, "What was your big break?" And I go, "They probably haven't had it yet." Like, I don't know. Like, you know, what I mean, like you can pick like a few different things. Like, you know, a friend of ours, Al Murray, Al took me on tour to support him. He never had a support act before, so that was a break. I did Russ Hour's Good News. That was a bit of a break. So you get these little step ups, but a few comics, there's not many where you can go, "Oh, right, I know what your big break was." Flanagan's was and like Bridges was when he did McIntyre's Roadshow and sold his full Edinburgh tour out, his Edinburgh run out the next day. So there's some people where you go, "Oh my god, yeah, you've had like an old school big break," and that's amazing. But if they don't have the talent to back it up, it'll drop. But thankfully those guys do, because they're geniuses.
Have you seen Micky Flanagan's bit on being rich?
Right, no.
Have you seen it on the front of his thing? He doesn't have a support. He doesn't have a support act.
Yeah.
He says, instead of a support act, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then he says, I just want to tell you a few things. Right, my whole show I'm going to pretend to be you. Yeah. But I'm actually not, because I've got much more money than you. And I thought, actually, that's pretty cool, because when you get to do what he's doing, you're Peter Kay or one of those guys, you're rolling.
To get away with telling a crowd that, you've got to be as funny as Micky Flanagan. I remember seeing Billy Connolly did it years ago, but you know, he was doing a routine after he was massive, and he was doing it. I was on his greatest hits or something, and he's talking to the crowd, and he was like, "Well, you know, but I'm just hugely successful now. You know, I'm just massive and famous." And they're laughing, and I thought, you got to have so much charm and talent to get away with that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And if I said it, I'd be lying. So,
do you enjoy doing stand-up?
It's the best thing in the world. Like I can't even explain how amazing it is. It's
why?
Because there's just, you need to just experience it. There's something again, I'll go back to what I said, where I said you see some guys still touring and you think you must love the money, but also you can't get that buzz anywhere else. You see guys still doing it. Like Billy Connolly. Does Billy Connolly still need to do a tour? No, but he loves it. Yeah, that's what he toured, last year or the year before? Because he loves it. Because it's the most... I don't want to get too ridiculous about it, but it's magic. It's like I've never had anything in my life that I've loved and yearned for as much as a kind of career or something. I've never really had hobbies. I've never really had, we've talked about this, but I'm not a massive football fan, even though where I'm from, so I've never really had any kind of passion in that sense. And the minute I went on stage and got my first joke, I was like, something clicked in my head and I was like, right, this is it. This is my life now. I need this.
Even if it goes wrong.
Yeah, especially when it goes wrong, because you get back up again and fix it. I can't explain what it's like when it goes wrong either. That's the worst feeling in the world. It's like the dream where you go to work naked, but a million times worse. Yeah. And your dick's an innie. It's like an innie belly button. It's mad. It's honestly, it's the most absorbing, and people think the key to stand up for me, the key to good stand up is making it look really easy. Yeah. So you Micky Flanagans and people like that, you make it look easy. And I used to compare a lot. I read Frank Skinner's book, and Frank Skinner said, compare. You get good at comedy, compare. It's what Al Murray does, chatting to the crowd. And I used to compare, and weirdly, a guy in a taxi said this to me yesterday. He said he used to watch, he'd go up the creek, and he was like, sometimes the compare is better than the acts. I'm going, what you don't understand is, that compare is a headline level act for that club. If you're going to compare a club, you need to be the headline level act. Yeah. And to go on in between them and make it look easy and just chat to them and pull it in and make it about them and then weave your material into it. And that's what I started doing. As soon as I started doing sets, and then as soon as someone said, do you want to start comparing? And I realised you don't burn up as much material, so you can go back to the same club week after week after week after week, and you've only done 5 minutes of gear, and you've just done a load of patter with them, but making it look of the moment and making it look easy and making it look natural, and they're the easiest people to watch. Don't get us wrong, I love a one-liner comedian. I wish I could write one-liners. It's something I can't do. But just to make it easy and conversational and make it flow, it's
Russell Kane said he likes playing gigs where no one knows him, as they're not paying to get in to see him, because he has to start all over again. He loves doing that feeling of it. And is that similar to you? Because if they turn up to see you, you know they're going to laugh at you because they like you.
Well, I do. Sorry, I do. He's totally right. And there's a mad rush about it. And there's something where you win them over. Yeah. There's a moment where you know, I've won them up. And what I do is, when I'm in Russell's, I've probably copied Russell's model for this, because obviously I supported Russell back in the day. So when I'm writing a new show, I cobble together a couple of bits and I'll pop the gigs unannounced, and I'll turn up and some people know you and go, oh, mint, he's here. And some people go, who the hell's this? And there's genuine people going, oh, this prick. Like literally, that is the cross section of the audience you'll get, and it's really good to win them over. But what I do is, when I'm previewing the show, when I get the show together, when there's enough material to maybe do 45 minutes, I'll put on a work in progress night, but I'll put it on at a comedy club where I've played before in the past, but I'll put it at their comedy club prices, and I'll only let them advertise it. I won't advertise it. So you get your chin scratchers, you get your big blokes with skinheads sitting with your arms folded going, well, I wouldn't pay for his bloody £20 a ticket for his bloody tour, but I'll pay £6 to watch him die on his arse here, right? Yeah. And they'll call, and winning them over is the one, like, when you go, because if I said, I'm doing work in progress, guys, hey, people who normally pay £20 to see us, guess what? £6 tonight, and there'll only be 100 people in the room. How do you fancy that? They'll all come, and they'll be over the moon, and they'll just be so excited that I'd try it out with them, and then I'd take it out on tour, and people are paying £20, and they'd be like, what the hell's this shit? Yeah. Like, this worked when there was 100 people in the room who were over the moon to get a bargain, but trying it out with people who aren't avid fans, who are taking a punt on you for a bargain, is the hardest audience. Because
I always think that it's the exciting bit of any of our jobs is when you slightly leave your comfort zone. With TV presenting, when stuff starts breaking, or I've got a really awkward guest or something, that's when I start thinking this is funny. And this is fun. I really enjoy it because it's, doing Sunday Brunch, you've been on it a load of times. It's a really lovely show to do, and it's easy, and it's just fun. And then sometimes stuff breaks, and you're like, I've actually got to have some skills now. Usually I'm just staying there eating and drinking and chatting with my mate. And then you feel like alive, and it's like, it must be the same with a comic when the gag's not working, or your joke's not working, or you're in something, or you're getting heckled, or something happening. You think, this is where I earn my money now. This is where the greats come to their
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
And this is where it really happens.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I was talking. I had a comedian Ian Sterling on me show last night, and we were talking about this afterwards. And I'm right. Obviously, I do stand up at the beginning of my Comedy Central show, so I write a monologue. We write like a 10, 15-minute monologue of jokes. It gets edited to about, honestly, a minute and a half, if that, and so much drops. But comedy is the only thing that you can't test out in a bedroom. You can't. I've got mates who are musicians, and they go, "Oh, you heard my new track?" And them and 3 producers have written it or a writer have written it in a studio, and they go, "Oh, it's a banger." And you go, "Yeah, I know it's a banger." You can't do that with comedy. Maybe once a year. Ian Sterling said this last night. He said once a year you'll write something. You go, "I know that'll work."
Yeah.
And sometimes you go, "I know." And sometimes you want to argue with the crowd. The one that works will work. But then if you write another one, you go, "No, I know that works," and it doesn't. You want to go, "No, you're all wrong." Like, stop booing and listen to how wrong you are. Like, it's mad. You can't test it out. And as I say, I know people who write songs and they played it to us. And like a mate of mine played us his album before it came, and I was like, I know that's going to be amazing. I know that's going to be unbelievable. And it was. And he didn't have to go to open mic night and try it in front of a crowd. Yeah. It's infuriating. And when I do corporate gigs and I see, and there's a band on beforehand, and no one's listening to the band, and they're all chatting, and the band come off and go, "That was nice." And I go, I've got to go on now and try and engage with these fuckers. Do you know what I mean? It's madness.
You mentioned it earlier. Well, we're going to talk about your tour in a minute and what it is, what it's actually about. But you mentioned earlier, I saw you do warm up with Al Murray years ago. Yes. I feel like I've been on your journey with you. I also saw you do warm up on his TV show. I was booked as a guest on his show. Yeah. And what I always remember about that is when every time they broke it, the recording, you had to come out and do your bit. Yeah. But you looked like you were really excited, like, yeah, it's my go now. And it's like, did you enjoy doing the warm up stuff?
That's probably why I should get into acting, because that was good acting, because I hated it.
Why?
Because it's horrible. What? Doing the warm up. I have got an amazing warm up guy on my show called James Gill. He's amazing. He runs gigs in Kennington called Always Be Comedy. He's amazing, and he's so good at it. And some warm up guys are amazing at it. I think I just, it was terrifying. It was the most terrifying thing. Now I did. Doing warm up for comics, like for a stand-up tour, is different because they know that, and you go out and you've got your thing. But doing that for the Al Murray show, so Al comes out and he does some bits, and sometimes Al's still standing in the background, and I walk on with a tinny mic and go, "Hey, everyone's still having a good night," and it's like, and like I did warm up for the Graham Norton show a couple of times, and that is big. Like, that's 700 seats in this massive studio. A-listers backstage, and I've got to walk out and tell us, get them warmed up and get them excited. I'm just doing bits of stand-up. I'm talking about, I used to have a routine where I went to see the Jeremy Kyle show live, so it was perfect for warm-up. Yeah. Like, look, guys, I've been to see Jeremy Kyle, and they wanted to know what it was about because they were interested in TV stuff. And I remember, man, I was halfway through, I was just before the end of a routine. I took my breath in for a punchline for this routine, and I had them hanging on me every word, 700 of them. I was doing well, right? He knows what's coming, right? And I had them hanging on me every word, and I went to do the punchline, right? And I lost them all instantly. The floor manager will normally come over and go, "Right, that'll do, Chris." That happens a lot. That's what you thought I was going to say. I lost them all instantly. I felt the whole room move, and I just looked, I thought, what's happened? And they all looked behind us, and I was like, fucking Graham Norton's walked out. I'm sure Graham Norton's walked out. I've lost them. I turned around. I shit you not. This is how hurtful it is to be the one guy. It wasn't Graham Norton. I could have dealt with that. A runner had put a glass of water on the table, and I lost 700 people because of what. And everyone in the crowd went, "Oh, I wonder whose water that's going to be. Oh, I wonder whose water. That might be Tom Hanks's water." Lost the full room in one go. It was soul destroying, and I was like, I can't. I'm too. I need the attention too much. I'm an only child. I can't be the warm. I'm not given enough to be the warm up guy. And I was talking about this morning with someone when I did the. Actually, I was talking about with you. So I remember Al was really. So I just pointed at Lucy, who was with us. Your
entourage. You've come with an entourage.
Entourage, yeah. She's just sitting in the corner. You've made a noise with a plastic bottle. Stop it.
Lucy, do you mind just moving forward slightly? Because I'm worried about that light behind you, which Mark broke not so long ago.
Mark, did you break that light?
Yeah, he broke that light. Yeah, he's sat
me.
on that light, and if you touch it, it breaks, and it caused quite.
I think the light's the problem.
As long as you don't touch it.
Really?
Yeah, God.
Goodness me.
So you were talking about...
Yeah, I was talking about the Al Murray thing this morning, weirdly. It's really weird that you bring it up, when I think about the warm-up I did.
Oh, but I remember you doing it, and you were really funny, and you were engaging. I think half the thing with comedy and actually entertainment is people just got to like you, and you're likable.
Yeah, well...
If they like you, they'll give you half a chance, won't they?
I think you're right, yeah.
If you're doing warm-up for someone like Al or Russell, is there etiquette before if you're doing their actual tour, not their TV shows, do you have to not be as funny as them? Is your mic like bands? Is your mic slightly lower in the
Al
mix?
only took us on tour once, and Al said on TV afterwards, he said I was a bit good and he wouldn't take it again. And it was half joking, but it was a really lovely compliment. I'll never forget it. But he taught us a lot. But I forgot. I should have told you this earlier. I supported Micky Flanagan once. Now, this is going to sound like I'm slagging Micky Flanagan off. I am not. I love the man, and he's hilarious. And this was before he was massive, right? Yeah. He was doing his normal. Something had happened with his normal support act. And he was doing Harrogate Theatre, right? And I'd got the call because a guy called Toby Jones, who runs the Harrogate gigs, was promoting the show. And I got the call. I'm sure at the time, I think CKP, who run Flanagan, said, "We don't know who this Chris Ramsay is. We don't want him," which is fair enough. I was brand new at the time. We don't want him to support him. And Toby Jones fought, and he was like, "I'll get you this. Go on, you can do it." So I came down to do it. I met Micky. He was lovely to meet him. He wasn't huge at the time, but he was a circuit legend. I knew he was, the shit. I knew he was fantastic. And he didn't do it on purpose, and there was no malice in it whatsoever. I think it was because maybe it was one of his first tours, and he'd never toured. I'm not sure. And he went, "All right, mate, I'll just get out there. I'll just get him warmed up for you, and then you go on." And I thought, what? I thought, why is this happening? Like, I can't believe it. But he's the boss. I was working for him that night. He does what he wants. And he didn't do it on purpose. I'm not slagging him off. There was no malice. But mate, I shit you not. He went out, right? He did fucking got them rolling, then introduced me.
Oh no.
It was mental. And I died so hard for so long.
Oh no.
And he was obviously, he would never do that. Why would you get someone out to,
why did you die though?
Because
they wanted him.
Because Micky Flanagan just went out, did his earth-shattering, yet to be discovered, earth-shattering, fantastic bit of comedy, and then went, "So are you enjoying it? Right, here's some fucker you don't know." So I walk out, die on my arse for like 15 minutes of sheer silence, and then it went by. It was like, the way I can describe it, it's like sitting down at a restaurant and going, "Oh yes, I'll have the filet mignon, please. Oh yes, fantastic, sir. Here's the filet mignon. Have a good smell of the filet mignon. Do you like look at? Yeah, good, right. Here's a bowl of Rice Krispies." You know what I mean?
When you got your Perrier nomination,
yes,
was that the best moment in your career?
As a stand-up,
because that's where your peer group are basically saying, your contemporaries are saying, "Yeah, we accept you now."
Absolutely, yeah. They can't take it away from us. It's one of the proudest moments of my life. So you go to the Edinburgh Festival and you try these things out. And I went to the Fringe. First year I went was 2010. I did my first show, and you're eligible for newcomer nod when you do your first show for newcomer nomination. Yeah. And I didn't get the newcomer nomination because it wasn't a great show. And then I went up second year, so it was the first year that I was eligible for the main award, and I got nominated for the main award in my sort of first year eligible for it, which I was really proud of. And it was I come out of nowhere, like no one could believe it. Like promoters and everyone, and they were just like, "What the hell?" They were like, "How's he nominated for this?" And it was, it's. I never saw myself as being that, as being the guy nominated for this prestigious award, and it is genuinely it's the proudest thing that's ever happened to us, and it's they can never take that away from us now. Like, that can never be removed. Like, I can do as much telly, I can do radio, I can do kids TV, I can quit and be a bin man, right? And they can never ever take away the fact that I was a proper stand-up, proper Perrier nominated stand-up. They can never take that away. And it
means that much, does it? Does that mean that there's so much to all the comics?
So much. Well, I don't know about all them. Some people, I don't know, but it meant the world to me.
The worst award in the world is a Michelin star if you're a chef. And I'll tell you why. It's because you get it and then you don't keep it. They can take it away from you.
It's like a Nando's card, isn't it?
There's your Oscar. And just like a Nando's card, Chris.
No, they took my Nando's card off us, and I've never recovered.
Did you have one?
I had the black one, yeah. I had it for 6 years, and they took it off us.
Why?
Yeah, well, they didn't renew it. I don't think I'm street enough. I don't think I'm cool enough I don't think they care if I'm in there with me toddler. I think they need Stormzy and really cool example and get cool people in there.
How many do they give out? Do you know how many they give out a year? Or whatever?
It's supposed to be 100. I used to get it in a little envelope that said they were only 100.
Right.
It was really cool. I've got them all still. Like it went from
still trying
the first
them.
one was metal. Yeah, the first one was like tin, and the next one was like really thick metal.
Oh,
like
wow.
can you remember Pogs? It was like a metal pog, like a slammer. It was great. And then it went back, and then I'm like, oh, I've got my other wallet. I got a new wallet recently. Seen the other wallet.
Ooh.
Memories. But yeah, I know what you mean. That is my mate. Well, Simon Rimmer introduced me to Kenny Atkinson, who's got House of Tides in Newcastle, and he just got his Michelin star renewed. But he came. Me and my wife went in for some food. Because we don't have many really high-end restaurants in Newcastle. Like obviously, we've got nice places to eat. But it's the only place we've got with a Michelin star. So now and then, sort of twice a year, maybe my wife will go for a little jaunt.
I'm getting Tom Kerridge on this soon. I've got to talk to him about it because you work really hard to get an award, and then you've got to keep working hard.
Yeah,
otherwise they take it away.
We went in and Kenny came and sat with him and he was like, I'm really relieved now. I can relax for the year because I've just had my Michelin star renewed. And I'm like, and he said that.
Nightmare.
It's like taking it back. It's like insane.
It's just
like how awful.
So how long was it before you felt comfortable on stage then? From the moment the story goes, your mate was running a open mic night, was he? And
no, my mate decided he wanted to go to one.
Oh.
And I did. Well, honestly, people can't seem to get their head wrong what I mean by this. I didn't know anything about comedy. I didn't know there was a circuit. I didn't know there was clubs. I didn't know there was rooms above pubs where people did it. All I knew was Billy Connolly, Lee Evans, Ricky Gervais.
Right.
That's all I knew. Ross Noble. That's all I knew. I just knew they're already up there. They've already got DVDs out. They're already stars. They're already famous. And I had no clue how they got there. And I never, ever thought about it. And I don't know why. And my mate went, I'm going to an open mic night. And I went, what? What are you talking about?
Well, you never thought about it before. Never thought about being a comic before that.
Not until I realised it was a possibility.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was mad. It was like a door opening. It was I'm trying to think of an analogy for you. It was like, it was like someone going, it's like someone who doesn't know about air travel going, oh, how do you get over there? Do you know there's planes? What? Yeah, there's planes you can fly over there. You're joking. Pack me bags now. Like that's what it was. It was like I had no idea. And it was just, I went and watched my mate, and dare I say it, I don't want to sound like like an arsehole here, but I watched my mate. My mate was brilliant. Carl Hutchinson supports me on tour now. One of my best mates in the world. And the guys who were doing it on the night, obviously you get like anything. There was some terrible, terrible acts that night, and I thought, and that was if I'd went on a good night, and your Kevin Bridgeses and your Russell Howards and and your really good guys had been there, I'd have went, oh, they're amazing. I'll never do that. But because I went and saw, dare I say it's some struggling guys who were doing it for the first time or doing the same shit for the 10th time, which happens at open mic nights, I went, oh my God, I could do this. This could be my thing. And I spoke to the guy running it, who was really good. And I said, mate, can I do this? And he went, yeah. He went, I've got a space 4 weeks' time. Do you want to come? And I went, yeah. And I remember I went to Asda in Bolden next to South Shields. It's got an Nando's next to it now. I went and I bought a blue, I'll never forget, it was a blue, like a navy blue book. It looked a bit like a diary, but it was just lined paper. And I started writing stuff down in that. And then I had 3 or 4, 5, 6 pages of it within a couple of days of just what would I talk about. Because you don't realise what's hack. You don't realise what you can't talk about. You don't realise what's not translatable. You just, when you first start, you've got every idea you've ever thought in your whole head. Nail clippers, hangovers, STD, whatever. You just thought everything I've seen on telly, every adverts and TVs. What new comics talk about quite a lot. And
the first thing they do is they go, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I look like a fat la 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 la. That's what every comic does.
I had one of them. Everyone had one of them. And I started writing. And I went within a month, and it was after my first gig, I was telling people I was a comedian. After my first open mic night.
Do you know what? That's a really good thing to do.
Yeah.
Because then there's no going back from there.
Yeah,
is there?
that was it.
That's
really.
it. Yeah. Did you get laughs on the first time then?
Yeah, and I don't like. I feel like I'm bragging, but I got massive laughs the first time. Total fluke. And if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have done it again.
No, you're funny and you're a nice guy as well. But then that sometimes doesn't translate into being a good comic, does it? That's the thing. The funny guy down the pub doesn't necessarily end up being Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, there's no rule to it. It's so bizarre. Some of the funniest people I know would be terrible at comedy.
Yeah, but I think there's a technique to it, and you've got to learn how to write the material, and then that's how it comes. And clearly, you're able to do that. How do you write your show then? How does it work?
Honestly, I get a new theme every year. So I'll go, what do I want to talk about here? Because weirdly, with the management company I'm with, you have to name the show, then you have to put the show on sale, then you have to write it. It's great.
Yeah, that's
great. Yeah, it's great for the blood pressure. So it's like, I'll just, again, Russell Kane told us, he was like, get your goalposts. Think of your, I'm using a football analogy. Look at me.
Oh, that's good.
He goes,
good.
Think of your theme.
Yeah.
Think of what you want to talk about. There's your goalposts. Every thought you have, push them through that goalpost.
What does that mean? That means nothing to me.
Well, it means... Thanks, mate. It means...
Russell told me that as well. That's why I'm still sitting here doing podcasts.
You've got written down there with a big question mark next to it. It was basically every sort of idea you have to see, you go, right, so my show was like... this show's called the Just Happy to Get Out the House Tour, but that's just because I couldn't think of a name. And I thought of the theme later on, but we booked this one early doors. So the idea I came up with was I went to do a will. Me and my wife went to do a will, which is a really grown-up thing. And I was like, okay, can it be about being a grown-up? No, 2 shows ago was about being a grown-up. Okay. And they talked in the will about what's going to happen if the eventuality of different people. And it sounds really grim, but I'll get there, don't worry. But it was like, what happens if your wife dies? What happens if you die? What happens if you both die? What happens if all 3 of you die? Your son as well. It was the most morbid day in the world talking about a will. It was horrible. But then they said you can leave a letter in the will. You can put a letter in the will. And the letter is... you can put anything on it, like absolutely anything. It can be just a letter to, and so I said, so it could be like a letter to my son to say, like, here's my will, this is what I want you to do with your life, or this is do whatever, this is what your dad did in his life, blah blah blah. So I thought I would put what if I went tomorrow, what are the things that I wish I could have told him, the things I could have passed on, the bits of knowledge I could have passed on to him, and that's what the show is about. So the show is about different ways I would tell him to deal with situations in life. Now obviously some of them are, I talked about one on Sunday brunch. Some of them is try and find enjoyment and laughter any way you can, because life can be tough. So there's a bit about my dad finding out he had cancer. So there's a bit about that which is heavy. But then there's daft bits of don't take a toddler on holiday. Different things about how to stack a dishwasher. Like just So I go from the morbid to the ridiculous, to slagging off slow cookers, to arguing with my wife. And it just all these different things. And so every thought I had would be, I'd stand there and I'd go, she's terrible. My wife is terrible at stacking the dishwasher. It's awful. Yeah. Like, it's like a joke. It's like she's throwing them in from the other side of the room. I don't know how she does it. And I'll stand and we're arguing about it, and I'm saying all these things, and I go, right. So then the goalpost is life advice for my son. So it's whack straight through there, how to stack a dishwasher. So then it's, and I know it sounds boring, but you find a way to make it funny. And everything like that. So it'll go. So the goalpost will be, what is the advice, and then whatever thought I have, like, this isn't in my show, but say you're in a taxi and the taxi driver constantly talking about football and you're not a football fan. Oh, how do I get around that? And then I'd push that through the goalpost of how do you get out of an awkward conversation? That'll be one of the bits. Do you know what I mean?
So what actually makes people laugh? If I could, do you know what makes people laugh?
For me, life.
Is it people recognizing it? Is that what happens? Is they go, I recognize that, and that's what gets the joke?
For me, it's probably both ends of that. If you recognize it, and if it's something you've recognized that they don't realize that they've recognized, like Michael McIntyre's brilliant at that. He'll go, have you ever noticed? And it'll be, and everyone goes, I have noticed that, but it was laying dormant in my mind until you said it. Like his man draw was Micky Flanagan's out was McIntyre's man draw. And it's a moment where they'd say it and everyone goes, I didn't realise that. And out was the same. You go, yeah, I am. Out. And it's them moments where, so that's an observational comic. So that's observational comedies. Now me, I have observations, but they're nestled within the stories. They start them with, have you noticed this? But I have you noticed? But I sometimes have them peppered throughout. And I see the crowd go, and I sometimes point, I go, yeah, like I've got a bit about slow cookers in the new show that sounds really boring talking about slow cookers, but again, talking about a man draw sounds boring. But the war that is going on domestically in this country over slow cookers in the kitchen, it's unbelievable. Just in the warm-up gigs, There's always one person in the relationship who loves a slow cooker and the other one hates it. And there's always one of them who can stack a dishwasher and the other one hates it. And the crowd, you can divide a crowd.
Yeah, it does. The dishwasher thing, I can understand.
I say,
that,
right, it's genuinely true. I say in the show, give me a chair if you got a dishwasher and the chair. And I go, give me a chair if only one of you in your relationship or household can adequately stack the dishwasher. That chair's bigger than the first chair.
Yeah, definitely.
So they're just more excited about it. And it's them where they didn't notice it.
He understands my plight every night.
Not also that, but then I've got routine. I had a routine. I had a full show about when I got kicked off Soccer AM. When I said So no, you obviously not in your time. It was it was in there. It was in the
in my time. I wouldn't have booked you.
Yeah, well there we go. Because I'm not a football fan. Yet here I am in your kitchen with a bottle of wine you've gifted us.
Why you got? What did you do? You told a joke about
they asked us about internet trolls. They put us on the spot and asked us. I was new to live telly at the time. They put us on the spot and asked us about internet trolls, and I started a story very excitedly, and halfway through telling it, I realised there was a chance at the end that I probably shouldn't say it on telly, but I was in the story, and I'm a comedian, and I wasn't going to halfway through a story, especially football fans do not let you off lightly. In my head, I went, I'm halfway through this story, I can go, I've just realised there's a naughty word at the end of that, sorry, come and move on. And then everyone goes, who the hell is this bloke? Or I can bite down on my mouthpiece, plant my feet and swing my fists and just do it. And I might upset the people thinking, but
what was it? Go on, tell us what it was. I can't even remember.
So they said, someone tweeted us and said, I was tweeting about this gig, Middlesbrough Town Hall, and it was a big gig for me at the time. It was 1,000 seats. There was only 100 seats left, and I kept tweeting about it. And someone tweeted saying, you tweeted loads about this gig, flogging a dead horse, are we? So I replied to him, look, mate, there's only 100 seats left in an 1,100-seater. And very juvenile, I said, so the horse is very much alive and it's currently bumming your dad. That was the joke, to say that he's dad. So, but it's juvenile and it's stupid, and sorry, you're there and everyone's going, Ramsay, and you feel like you're in your mate's house playing on an Xbox, and it's just that. And I said it and I went, And you know what? I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't try and make a scene, and I didn't. Weirdly, even I did. You told me afterwards. You said I might have a blanket ban from Sky, which I've been worried about since you said it. But thankfully, I was on. Mate, I felt sick. I asked someone. I was like, "Do you think I've got a blanket ban?" Tim Lovejoy. You were winding us up probably, but I was like, "He says I might have a blanket ban." This is bizarre. But
do you know I said that so flippantly, but I didn't realise you'd taken it seriously.
On the outside, on the inside, I'm like Russell Kane on the inside. It all sticks.
Do you, it
all sticks. I worry.
Because you know what happens is no one, after you said that gag, no one would have cared, right? Apart from there'd have been someone who complained to Ofcom, or someone decided that it was a bad thing to say, right? And then there would have been a report on it. Mm-hmm. And then someone has to make a stance. And so what happens is they go, God, let's just give them a ban then. And then they go, it's not strong enough. Well, we'll give them a life ban. And that's when I said to you flippantly, maybe they said, like they did with Shaun Ryder on Channel 4, that was a ban from the whole of Channel 4, not just TFI Friday. Yeah. And so you couldn't have him on. Now it's been lifted, obviously. He can do whatever he wants. But and that's what I said it to you a bit flippantly. Sorry about that. But that's all right, mate. That's what they sometimes have to do. They have to just, even though no one hates you, they've got to placate the people who are going to complain about this stuff. But
But that's what I was getting. So I got a full tour. I didn't do it on purpose. But when I said it, the minute I said it, this was when Twitter was in its heyday. I got 13,000 followers the minute I said that. The minute I said it. And I didn't do it on purpose, but the literally 13,000. My phone went insane. Them 100 tickets for that gig that night went. The rest of the tour went. They all sold. But I made a tour out of that. Now, this is what I'm getting at. You're saying, is it stuff that people recognise? Yeah. Not always. Because I did a full tour about getting kicked off Soccer AM, and they can't relate to that. Yeah. But they can sit and go, you're an idiot. And I can tell the full story about it and go, you're an idiot, and we're laughing at how much of an idiot you are. So sometimes it's like a sitcom. Sometimes the stuff I'll put out, I'll just tell a story about me. Like, I got arrested in a hotel. I got handcuffs on. I got marched down the hotel corridor, crying. No, that's not a... You know when you're arrested in a hotel, it's not an observation. But it was the closing. The show's on YouTube now. It's called Is That Chris Ramsey? I just put it on YouTube. That was my arena show last year that I did Newcastle Arena. That's the closing gag about that. And it's a huge round of applause. But it's not a... There's no observation in that whatsoever because no one can relate to that, you know?
So if you want to watch that, where'd you go? Just on YouTube?
YouTube. Just type in Chris Ramsey.
Do you want some more water there?
Thanks, man. I'm going through it. I'm going to open this wine. If it wasn't 11 in the morning.
So... I'm fascinated by watching Mark do that now.
That's a posh tap.
So, it's good, that one.
Just filter water.
Yeah. You turn it one way, you get hot water, and then you turn it the other way, you get filtered water. It's just we talk about it a lot on this podcast. It's like
that would be me.
That is
just burning my hands.
It's just one of the great inventions.
I'll just wash my hands quickly.
Who do you think? Who are the greats? You talked about a couple of British ones there, but who are the greats that you look up to? You think are amazing? The ones that you would really wish to emulate. Well,
Billy Connolly's my main one.
Really?
If I don't meet him in my lifetime, I'm going to be heartbroken. He's apparently an amazing bloke as well, but he's the one where I watched him and I just watched him with my dad. So it was weird. My dad teased him to us in the way like Netflix teases a box set to you. He was like, when you're old enough, son, you can watch Billy Connolly. And I was like, what the hell's he talking about? Like, to the age of where I'm going, what are you talking about? And then he's going, and I think my dad kind of realised that I liked getting laughs and I liked trying to be funny. And I saw it in my son's face the other day. My son's 2, and he was dancing with my dad in the corner of my dad's living room, right? And I was in my mum and dad's kitchen getting a drink of water from I'll be honest with you, a substandard tap.
Yeah. It's not like that one, is it?
Really, it was shocking, honestly. I'm going to go back and snap my mum's tap off.
That's when you made it there.
Honestly,
that is it. That's
unbelievable.
I
can't believe it, honestly. That's Soccer AM money, that tap. Now, so I'm in the kitchen and my wife's like, come and see this, Chris.
Yeah.
And when you run, 9 times out of 10, it's not worth leaving the room for when it's a toddler. It's like, it's just good. But yeah, I walked through and him and my dad were doing this dance in the corner of the room, like the old walk, like in Egyptian. It was a thing like that. And my dad was doing one and he was turning around and doing it. And my 2-year-old son was looking and he was turning around and he was doing it as well. And I'm laughing and I've got my phone, I've got the video and I'm videoing it. And there's a point where my mum, me and my wife all laugh really loud. And my son looks and he looks at all our faces and he smiles as if to go, I loved that noise. Yeah. And I looked at it and I went, he's got the bug. I went, look at that. And that was the thing. My dad realised I had this. My dad must have realised that I just loved, obviously I loved laughing and I loved making people laugh. And he used to say, you watch Billy Connolly one day when you're old enough. You watch Billy Connolly. And then we watched it. And it was just this man holding the court of a theatre full of people and hanging on his every word. And I was mystified by it.
The power you must have. It's Chris Rock who talked about this. I was listening to the other day. Is the superpower that you have, that you can go into a room and get 200, 2,000, whatever it is, to listen to your words is must be so amazing. That feeling.
Best bit, and I've spoken about this a few times. The best bit isn't the laughs. The best bit is the silence before the laugh.
Right.
When you're about to drop the punchline. And thankfully there's no fucker behind you putting a glass of water on the table.
The worst bit is the silence after the silence.
The worst bit's the silence after that. But yeah, the best bit is the silence before the laugh, where you got, like, again, with the hotel story and with the Soccer AM story, when I'm taking them on this big yarn and you go, and you're going to hold it for so long. Even in Newcastle Arena, I held it for so long, and there's an arena full of people going, no, we're on board here. We are absolutely on board. Probably a few of them on their phones, but they're still quiet.
Yeah. The thing I was reading about you, and this, you must get this in every interview you do, that your first, because it's written on the internet about you, your first big TV break came when you were used as a last-minute replacement on Russell Howard's Good News, because Russell Kane was strobing. His clothes were strobing. Yeah. Is that really what happened to you?
100% true. So I'm going to quickly summarise this for you. I went down to watch the warm-up guy do Russell Howard's Good News, because I'd never done any warm-up. So I went to watch the warm-up guy to see how the warm-up was done. While I was there, I met a producer called Mark Idden, who's a lovely guy, and Jason Dawson, who was working with him. And Jason does, Mark does his own stuff now, but Jason still does like Russell Howard Hour, and he works with Russell really closely. So I went to watch Russell Howard's Good News, watch the warm-up guy doing it. The stand-up that night didn't do long enough, / did a joke that they didn't want on the show at all, which I think is an amazing joke. I'm not going to name her. I'm not going to do the joke. I'll tell you once we've turned the recording off. Okay. One of my favourite jokes in the world, but the BBC weren't happy with it. So she didn't do long enough. Plus, there wasn't the joke, the one bit that they did, they couldn't use. And they used to put Russell Howard News Extra out on a Saturday with the stand-up on. Now, that particular week, they had no Russell Howard's News Extra. So there was a whole scheduling thing, and the people, BBC, were freaking out. So they said, we need backup stand-ups. This is a thing we need. And then I left. And then the next day I got a call saying, for the next series, do you want to be the backup stand-up? Probably won't go out. You won't get to do it. But if it doesn't go out this series, it'll go out the first episode of the next series, so a year later. It'll go off the first episode of the next series if there's a next series. So it was a big if. I went down to do it. I couldn't believe it. Russell was on doing the show, having a great show. Russell Howard. Then he got Arnab Chanda on to do the stand-up, American guy. He did that. Russell Howard didn't realise there was an extra stand-up that night. Russell went on and was like, thanks for coming, everyone, you're being great. Like, people were standing up, putting their coats on. Mark Idden runs out and goes, no, we've got a backup stand-up. And Russell went, oh, I forgot, sorry, everyone sit back down. And they literally went, oh, like you could hear them like furious. Yeah. It was a lovely sunny day at Hammersmith, the studio down, the Riverside Studios. Such a, where they used to do TFI Friday back in the day. Yeah. And it was just, they groaned and they took their coats off and they sat down, they put their bags down, and I went out. And I was so lucky, it was like it reset them. It was like all they needed was to stand up and shake their limbs out and sit back down. Thankfully, they weren't dead. They were a really nice crowd. And then I went down. I was then down in the studio to do warm up. About 2 months later, to do warm up for the Lee Nelson show. And Russell Kane phoned us and went, "How did your set go on Russell Howard's Good News?" I went, "Oh yeah, great." He went, "Right, on like Facebook and stuff. What were the views like? What was the feedback from it? Did you sell tickets? Blah blah blah." And I went, "Oh mate, no, mine's the backup one. Mine only goes out if someone fucks up again." He went, "Oh well, it's going out tonight then because mine fucked up." That's genuinely true. He's like, "Congrats, yours is going out tonight." And yeah, it was some kind of camera fault, and because Russell moves so much, and because there's names behind, and they were following him on the camera, and the names behind you on the board strobed, I think. And and he was great. Kane was great about it. He just went, "Oh well, yours is going out tonight. Yeah, well done." And I was like, "You're joking?" And that's how I found out it was going out. It was amazing.
What was the reaction like to it?
And mine went out really good. Yeah, really crazy. I mean, it was Facebook days, and I remember sitting with my girlfriend at the time, and I was on I watched it, and I was buzzing, and a mate of mine phoned us, and I opened my Facebook, and the little notification thing was like 9999 plus. And it was just, and I was like, what the hell? And I had so many interactions. Because thankfully, in the routine, I said, go to my Facebook page. I had a bit about a photo, yeah. I used to do that all the time. I used to say it at Al Murray gigs as well.
That's good. Yeah. Russell Kane spends a lot of time looking good, looking sharp. Obviously worked on his image. There must have been a time when you thought, right, now I'm on stage, I'm doing my stuff. What is my image going to be? You must have had that thought.
I did. I was a bit of an indie boy, I was a bit of an emo boy at the beginning. I had the big long hair. Yeah. I had the big hoop neck t-shirts and the skinny jeans. And then I just went a little bit more casual. I felt like did someone say this? I don't even know if anyone said something. I think maybe one day I just caught a photo of myself and went, Christ alive. And look at a clip of that. I look like an idiot. Because me line, you know me, I know what you're thinking. My opening one used to be, I know I don't look like a comedian, I look like the lad who collects up the wires after an Arctic Monkeys gig. That was my first line. Because I was like, I had this big
you had the big hair, yeah.
And I just thought, I don't know what it was. I was just like, I think it might have been my girlfriend at the time or something. I mean, my wife, who I'm with, obviously who I'm married to now, would never have let me get away with that look.
But did you ever think about doing the suit or comedy glasses or?
Nah, never. I never thought about the suit ever. I remember the first time I had to wear a suit for a corporate gig. I was upset. I was like, well, they don't want me. They want to dress us up.
Is that because you feel uncomfortable on stage?
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these guys like Neil Hamburger or something? Is it Neil Hamburger? Have you seen him?
No.
He stands on stage. I've got his name right, haven't I? I'm looking at Mark here. Neil Hamburger. He stands on stage and he's wearing a suit and glasses and he's always got his sweaty hair. Yeah. And he tells revolting, vile jokes, but he's always holding 3 glasses as well. And he's sipping from 3. It's the most surreal act.
Wow.
And you end up finding it funny, but it's kind of strange. You think, how did you ever come up with that image? It's just really bizarre.
I heard, God, I'm just going to do me head in that. I don't know who told the story, but I heard an amazing story the other day of an American comic who's never really made it massive, but he supports some of the big guys in America, and he's very.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you tell me this story?
No. I didn't tell you that one. It's a good one.
Another one with a jacket.
No.
Right, okay, so it's a story. So he's in New York doing some gigs, this guy.
You can tell you're doing a lot of promo at the moment. You can't remember who's told you what.
Who the hell's told us this story. So he's doing this, was it who? Oh, bloody, it was, what's he called, man? Talk radio. Bob Mills. Bob Mills told us this story, right? So it's this comic, he supports all these acts in America, and he's over in New York doing this gig, and apparently you couldn't notice. So he's on stage, and you couldn't really notice, but his blazer jacket was just like baggy. It just didn't fit properly, and he sort of did his stuff, and he was talking away like that, and he said, apparently he says to the crowd, "Do you like the jacket, by the way? Do you like the jacket?" And the sort of guy, and you don't realise until he said it that it's a bit ill-fitting, and he goes, "Yeah, got it made in LA. I'm bigger over there." That's just such a good joke. Such a good joke.
That's terrible for your whole act. Is that?
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah,
Just
when you forget
thing.
it.
Yeah.
Did you pack the off? You're joking.
So, by the way, we didn't mention, when's your tour start? I will do it at the end.
Starts the 17th of May.
How many gigs you doing?
Oh man, there's 50 odd, but then it stops on the 29th of July. It gets worse. It stops on the 29th of July, and then if you look at my website, chrisramseycomedy.com, it stops on 29th of July, and then jumps straight to the Newcastle Arena on the 3rd of November. And I got an email a couple of days ago of the sort of brief plan of the dates that are going in that gap. So it'll probably be about 100 dates more.
The arena, how many's that you're playing to?
10,000.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's the best. It was amazing.
Oh, how does that feel?
Crazy. I cried on the way on stage when I went there, when I did it, yeah. I said it in the podcast recently, I cried, but I had to suck the tears back in because you can't do the...
No, not in front of the...
You can't do the tearful thank you at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just amazing to me, my dreams come true. So I was doing a will the other day. Boo!
Do you prefer playing the big ones or the small ones, the gigs?
Financially, probably the big ones. I'm joking. It depends on the crowd. It really depends on the crowd.
And I was flipping.
You're dying on your arse. You're dying on your arse. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't trying to be rude on Sunday brunch when I brought it up, but it must be really hard when you're a dad. You clearly love you clearly are a great dad, and you enjoy doing it. When you go off on 50 dates, that's a long time. You don't get to see you know.
Yeah, well, you come back a couple of days. You come back. It's not like a music gig where you're away for full stop.
Yeah.
I learned it from Al Murray. He had Monday, Tuesdays off on the tour, and I was like, this is genius. So Monday, Tuesday's your weekend. But sometimes I'm away and I don't get back till Monday afternoon, and then you've got to head off Tuesday afternoon if you're further away, because the people who book it evidently think I can teleport. It's madness. They think I've mastered interdimensional travel. But it is hard. But, you know, I'm doing the job of my dreams that I never thought I'd ever get to do, and B, it's the only way I can make money for my family. I've got no transferable skills. I've got nothing. I worked at the Inland Revenue for a year, and I still don't know what I was doing. I shit you not, I have no idea what that job was. They've got it in, and they said, right, it's this, any national insurance something, class contribution something. There was all these words floating about, and they said, you sit on the computer, here's your list of names. You check for the name, you check for the number in the computer. If you can't find it, you log it. If you can find it, you fill it in this form, and then you send this letter. Not a clue. I could have been sending death threats. I have no idea what that job was. No idea ever.
Well, look, as well as a stand-up comic, you're also a TV presenter these days. You got your own TV show, the Chris Ramsey Show. Yeah. It's changed though from series 1 to series 2. You're filming it. You were filming it last night, weren't you?
Yeah,
how
many
have you got?
We've got 10 episodes instead of 8 this time, which is awesome. But we did them in It's really strange because getting your own show.
Yeah.
The Chris Ramsey Show. I've only had the Chris Ramsey Show once before, and it was when I had a talk boy when I was 9 years old, and I had the Chris Ramsey Show in your bedroom, right? And it was basically fart noises for 10 minutes until I had to change the tape over. Yeah. But it was insane to get the Chris Ramsey, so amazing and the best feeling ever. And we recorded it I always wanted it to be weekly, not because you know me, I'm not a hard hitting. Topical satirist. That's not what you're going to get from me. You're going to get, but you're going to get what I do. You're going to get life. You're going to get things I've spotted. You're going to get funny stories. But I wanted it to go topical. I wanted to record it every week like we're doing now, but we couldn't do it with the first series for numerous reasons. And the first series was recorded in a block, and then it went out literally 5 months after we recorded it. And in that time, I'd done the Jungle spin-off show, and then I'd done Virtually Famous, hosted that on E4. And then my show came out. So my first thing that I did, my first baba, came out after I'd done 2 more things. So A, I'd almost forgot about it. And B, I was better at the job. Right. Then, by the time it came out, I was like, I'm actually a better presenter now. because you're learning. Someone said it was today, weirdly, they said, let the audience see you're learning. Let them see the curve, you know what I mean? Because I'm not an amazing, perfect TV presenter. I'm getting better every single time. We did the episode last night. I felt like I performed better in the last episode than the one before, and I always want to get better. Every 2 hours better than the next one, because that's what I want to do. But it came out after I'd had all the buzz about it and all the excitement. Like, oh, by the way, my show's on tonight. But the most exciting thing about doing this each week is I watched the last episode last week, and I had no idea what the next episode was going to have. I knew who the guests were going to be because we had them booked, one of them not even confirmed. But I watched it and I go, right, I know what I'm going to change there. That worked, that was great. Even in the edit, that worked, that was great. Tighten that up. Monologue needs to be snappier. This needs to be this. Games need to be quicker. And, you know, it's a whole process rather than doing it all in one go and then pumping it out months later, it wasn't creatively fulfilling, if that makes sense.
So you can change them as the weeks go on.
This is more like a tour.
Yeah.
This is more like the way I work. Because I do a tour and I'll find a new punchline. Halfway through a tour, I'll find... one of my best punchlines of my first Edinburgh show I found on the last night of the 28-night Edinburgh run. I was nearly crying. And I said, and I stopped and I said to the crowd, I went, it's the first time I've said that. I've been doing the show for 28 nights. I was like, I feel gutted. And they were like, way. Yeah. But that's what does that make sense? I literally just rationalised this in my head. That is what it's like. So on a tour, I'll find new bits and I'll find new punchlines. I'll find new ways around it. And I'm doing this with this TV show. I'm evolving on the way.
How dependent are you on the guest, though? Because I've always said, since I've, a producer and a presenter, but I've always said, make the show so good that the guests are irrelevant. If they come, they're a bonus. They're the icing. That's what I always think. So I've had some amazing guests on Sunday Brunch recently. Of course, yeah. You included, Chris. You've been amazing.
Yeah, but you've had some big, you've had some massive...
We've had some amazing people just do amazing things. Like Julian Sands the other day was absolutely incredible. Just a really interesting guy talking about eating squirrels. He just basically ate anything in his garden. And he was just... The viewers loved him. But the show's good, and then you just add the guests to make it better.
I agree. We always have to have something to fall back on.
You've got to, you can't rely on guests because you never know when they're going to perform or not.
I mean, let's I don't want to slag him off, but I'm sure he's not listening. I'm sure I will never meet Bruce Willis when he popped up on the One Show that time. Holy shit, can you remember that?
Yeah.
My God.
He's actually the next guest on the podcast.
Shut up.
You're going to meet him in the corridor.
He's behind that curtain there, isn't he? Yeah. Sorry, mate. To look at that. I mean, he says he was knackered and all that, which is fair play, but your worst nightmare is getting that. Hey, what have you been up to recently? Cool, good chat, Bruce.
Those a presenter, I'd love that.
Because you're an anarchist.
Just because it's funny, and you go, oh, brilliant, I've got some material to work with, and I've kind of been doing it for so long now, I think it was funny.
Yeah.
And we have had guests like that, and you sort of, the thing is, the audience are on your side. 'Cause I've been doing this show for so long now.
Absolutely.
That every time, we have problems sometimes with comics, and they're the only ones, really. They sometimes come on and they'll hammer the show.
Yeah.
And I think it's only if they've not watched the show. Sometimes they think,
they'll be nasty about...
Yeah, because it's an easy way of doing it, really. You can come on a TV show and you can go, oh, this show's rubbish here, it's rubbish here. But what they don't realise is the people who tune in every week go, no, I quite like our show. It's our show, and so it doesn't work. And
weirdly, and you might even edit, I don't know if this is a really big secret of your show, but the first couple of times I did it, the guys were going, look, don't mention the sink. And it was really weird. And I went, what do you mean? And they went, the sink's not a real sink. It's a bucket of water in a sink. Don't draw attention to it. And I was like, I'm not going to. But I imagine now it makes sense. Someone must have went, how rubbish is this?
No, every comic did it.
Oh,
it was really, because it's a set and there's no, you can't plumb water in and out. It's
the right stuff's in the same room the next day.
Yeah. And so
you got him doing his present next to a water tank.
So the problem is we're really, like, I think as presenters we're quite generous. You come on the show for 3 hours, do what you want. We'll support you. We're not looking for airtime. We're on for 3 hours, so we'll support you. But every time a comic comes on and goes, the sync doesn't work, after a while you're going, I can't do the laugh anymore. I can't pretend. Wow. The first time it's really funny.
All makes sense.
And then what you do is you get comics come on and they start going, the food's rubbish. And it's it's like there's people who do different angles on it. Harry Hill came on the show and started hammering it for being 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But he was he had all this material. It was brilliant.
Well,
He was just. It was so funny. He was going, it's 3 hours long, and I don't think it does your material justice.
Yeah.
It was funny, and then he goes, "The Godfather's not even 3 hours long," and stuff like that. So he had some. He had some really good stuff, right? And so we were laughing, but
that's in the joke with you. That's not sniping at you.
No, he's
that's
funny.
in the joke with you. Oh, I'm so glad I never took the Mick out your show. This is great.
No, but you
can
can tell you, and it doesn't matter if you take the Mickey out. I think of the show, the presenter, but it's being spiky about it.
Yeah.
I think that the don't like it. So that's why I can't remember where we got onto this. Oh, we were
You're a
talking
bigger
about
man than me, because if I was out and someone was like literally, if I do the Chris Ramsey show and someone's like, "It's a show," I go, "Oh, go, yeah, we'll go on your fucking show next week, shall we?" the nothing show about Nout doesn't exist.
I'm going to do that next time.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that next time.
I'd snap.
Yeah, that's funny. So what is what if people want to tune in? What are they going to actually get to see then?
It's right. So I get to do. It's really genuinely really good fun, and we get to play daft games with the guests, and we get to chat together. Now in the first series, if the adverts are kicking about where the first guests in the first series got shot with paintballs, they got electrocuted, they got wrestled by genuine wrestlers. We did some stuff where I was worried about telling them about it sometimes, because we went really kind of anarchy, we went crazy, and I said, look, that was really fun, but we've done that. I'll be honest with you, we've exhausted all of the kind of punishment we can give them, because the game was, in the first series, they had to play a computer game, right, against each other, and then we brought an element of that game to life. So I had Nish Kumar and Carl Hutchinson playing a wrestling WWE SmackDown, and actual wrestlers came in and started doing each other in front of them, which is crazy. It's like watching a pub fight. They're so good at it.
Yeah.
And then like wrestling Carl. So Carl, I think the closing credits, Carl's like in a headlock trying to play the game. So we brought these elements to life. It was really good fun, but we ran out of games. I ran out of elements to bring to life. It was ridiculous. So in this one, I was like, look, this is really daft, but I wear a shirt now on the show. Right. Now I know that seems like a nothing move, but it's such a thing to go, no, I'm taking the t-shirt off now. I'm wearing a shirt.
I think it's important.
This is a bit more grown up.
Yeah.
Well, Simon Rimmer said the other day, he said, yeah, when I watched your first series, Ramsey, and I turned it on and I saw you sitting in a t-shirt, I thought, Ramsey, you scruffy bugger. And I was like, cheers, mate. He's got a point.
I've discussed that a lot with a lot of people on how people should dress, and I won't go into who, but a few of the people on TV, I've said to the producers they're not dressing correctly for the slot.
Yeah.
And then they change the way they dress, and it's you have to dress for your people have got to buy it. You know, you can't be a geography teacher and turn up in a wetsuit. You got to have patches on your sleeves and
exactly, the patches,
whatever. But you have to dress for what you are,
Definitely.
and I think something you go on TV and you want to. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I wanted to get it a bit more grown up. We've got weirdly, and again, this is another bit of TV bullshit, but going topical, your guest caliber automatically goes up. Now I'm not saying anything, but we had some amazing guests in the first show. I was in the first series. I was over the moon to get them. But we've got I had Scarlett Moffat on the first episode. Second episode, we've got Chris Hughes from Love Island, Ian Sterling from Love Island, Brooke Vincent, who's just got into the final of Dancing on Ice. So you get people on promo, which they go, it's recording the block. When's it going out? 5 months' time. Fuck off. Like, they won't do it. But you get people on promo. Examples coming on. It was on your show. We've got Sunday brunch caliber of guests on a little show on Comedy Central,
Do you know, I'll tell you something funny. I was just thinking about how you dress. On Soccer M, I used to wear trainers, right? Yeah. Trainers, jeans, all those Evisu jeans and all that sort of stuff, baggy clothes and all that. As soon as I made the move to BBC Two, and I was doing them at the same time, I put shoes on. Yeah. I'm on the BBC. And it's suddenly, it was Sunday morning, but I thought, no, I've got to wear shoes now.
You've just done
and I think it changed the way I was perceived and my perception of what was going on.
That's absolutely right, and you've nailed it. But you know what you've done halfway through that? You've reminded me that Evisu jeans existed. Remember that?
With a big white stripe on the back of them.
The ones, so you could get the ones with the little gull, but then you could get the ones with
the big
I remember Busta Rhymes had a red pair in a video, and I remember thinking, I'd look amazing at college in South Shields with them on. Save up me education maintenance allowance for 6 years.
Right, we've got to get on to our questions we ask everyone. But before we do that, just one other thing that I've read on the internet, and it just intrigued me because Tim,
don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Well, you performed at the Royal Variety Performance 2015. Good thing to do?
Yes. Probably not as good as it used to be when there was only 4 channels.
It says here Elton John was on it.
Yeah.
Kylie Minogue,
was
One
crazy.
Direction, ELO, The Cause, Little Mix. I mean, there's Ramesh Ranganathan was on it as well. Mary Poppins was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's big names on that. Is it? Was that an immediate yes, or was
Absolutely.
it? Was it? Okay.
Yeah, they came and saw me at the Edinburgh Festival, and they saw us do my thing, and they said, "Oh, someone phoned us and said, look, we didn't tell you before the show, we're all variety people were in tonight," and I went, "All right," and then I got a phone call the next day, and they went, "Oh no, they want you on," and I was like, "You are joking," and it was crazy. It was a dream come true. Like I say, it probably hasn't got as much sort of reach as it used to back in the day. You know, I remember Freddie, the famous one, Freddie Starr did it, and the next day he was on the front page of every paper going, "A Star is Born," kind of thing.
Right.
But it was amazing. The venue was phenomenal. But I mean, you talk about supporting Micky Flanagan having to go after he's done Out. Try going on after One Direction. It was unbelievable. I mean, they changed the order of the thing, but this was the exact order that I went on that night.
Yeah.
Going on early's cold anyway. So they do the whole Prince is there, blah blah blah. Jack Whitehall hosted it.
Prince, which Prince was it?
Prince Harry was
Prince
there.
Harry, okay.
Prince Harry was there. Great one for me. I think of all the royals, I think he'd get me best.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I think my material would, he said bumming on Soccer I'm sure. So
did you aim any gags at him, or you?
yeah, I
told
spoke to him. I got him to wave at my son because Robin had just been born, and I said, "Will you do us a favour? Will you wave at my son?" So there's footage. We've still got it on the skybox of a prince waving at Robin.
But that you said on air
Said
on the
gag
show.
was,
Cool.
"Thank you so much." And as we all know, when a prince waves at a baby, that baby never has to pay tax. So that was just a daft little joke, which he laughed at it. He laughed and he clapped actually, which was really nice. And then so the order that Jack Whitehall
He's
hosted
nice.
it,
Did you meet him before and after the show? He's a nice.
Yeah,
bloke,
afterwards
isn't
he was really nice. Yeah, I didn't think I was bothered about the whole royal thing. I was proper starstruck when I met him.
Yeah.
But so I stood there and Jack Whitehall's hosting it, so he was brilliant. And then One Direction went on, and then Ricky Martin went on, and then I went on straight after him. And I was wearing a blue suit. It was a Paul Smith suit. It was a nice suit, expensive suit.
See, there you go. You've dressed for the occasion.
dressed
That's
for the
perfect.
occasion.
You've got to dress up.
Had
for
it
the
on
occasion.
blue, not dissimilar to the colour of your, maybe a little bit lighter than the colour of your t-shirt.
People
you're wearing
can't
now.
hear colour.
Well, like
Chris.
a royal blue then,
Okay.
like a royal blue. And then I saw all of Ricky Martin's dancers, and they had exactly the same suit on as me.
Oh no!
Exactly the same suit on as me. And I went out and I said, "I'm going to do a gag about that. Is that okay?" And they went, "1, you've only got 6 minutes, and 2, we'll change the order in the edit, so it'll be a waste." So I walked out to a whole room of Royal Variety, and they all went, "Is this one of Ricky Martin's dancers?" And I couldn't reference it. Because they re-edited it. But then at the end of the night, I stood with all the One Direction boys and Ricky Martin and me standing on the stage in order, waiting for the Prince to come and say hi. Then Elton John came on, and he hugged all of the One Direction boys, and he hugged Ricky Martin, and I was like on the side like that, and I'd never met him, and I kind of looked, and he went, like as he hugged me as well. So I got the tail end of the hug. So I got the hug, Sir Elton John, which was pretty cool.
That is cool. Is it? I think Russell Kane was the one who told me that the Michael McIntyre show's the one at the moment is the one you want to get yourself onto. Is that the show? Is that the one everyone's looking at?
I don't know. I've got no idea. I'm so busy with my show.
Just go do your own show.
Yeah, I'm so busy with mine and the tour and everything. And I literally, if the phone was tomorrow and said, "Will you do it?" I probably wouldn't even have the time to do it, to be fair. But I mean, Mike McIntyre's genius and brilliant, and I'd love to go on the show.
Have you got 10 minutes more? Because I just wanted to get into. I just noticed that we haven't talked about your acting yet, and so because you did Hebburn, and am I saying that right?
Hebburn, yeah.
Did you enjoy doing it?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed the company of the people I was in. I enjoyed watching it on TV. But there is so much hanging around in acting that TV presenting, TV shows, panel shows, it's quick. Stand-up is quick.
Yeah.
The hanging around in acting is nuts. Absolutely nuts. That was the only downside. The rest of it was just the best. It was amazing. But my God. Like this conversation, if we were filming this conversation now for a movie.
Yeah, 12 hours.
15, 20, easy, yeah. And I didn't get it. I remember I did the first bit. I walked in and I did my bit, and we did one scene. They were like, "Right, cut." I was like, "Right, what's next?" They were like, "No, this 10 more times from 10 different angles." I was like, "Oh, crazy."
It's hard,
as a
isn't it?
stand-up, it's really hard to change your gears because as a stand-up, I turn up, I go on, bang, I'm done, and I go. And
I've done two or three little bits of acting. I actually forgotten, and Mark dug it out on the internet and told me that I'd been in a few little things. But
Do I have to put private browsing on to find them?
Exactly. I'm so bad, but it's for the reasons A, I can't act, but B, that thing you're saying, I can only do one take of something. That's it for me. I can't do 20 different takes of something. I just don't. It just doesn't feel real to me to do it.
Some of the only really bad moments for me on Heaven was when I would give it all in the rehearsal.
Yeah,
and then I would do it, and I'd go, that wasn't as good as the rehearsal. That wasn't. And I'll do the line. It would be like, all right, Chris, we're doing the shot behind your head now, and I'd deliver an amazing line. I'd have like tears in my eyes, and they go, right, we're doing the one on your face now, and I would fuck it, and I would go, I know that's going to be bad. So this is weird. I was talking about this yesterday because in my show, me TV show, Chris Ramsey show, I do 2 rehearsals, and I am horrendous in the rehearsals, and I don't sell it, and I go,
block it, always block it.
I block it. I don't even do the monologue in the rehearsal. And some people on the team are like, why? And I'm like, because my worst nightmare is going, that could have been better in rehearsal. So I engineer it that it can never be better in rehearsal.
But it's not just that, right? Because you do have an earpiece when you're presenting on your show. So you've got an earpiece, and you've got the guys behind the cameras, and you've got the floor. Whether you like it or not, those people are going to react to what you're doing because you're funny, and that's it. And if you give your best shot at it in rehearsals, they won't. There's no way you're going to laugh at a joke the same way you're going to laugh at it a second time round. So if you don't block it annoys me when presenters give it all in rehearsal. It's like, what are you doing?
It's
hold it back.
They're not listening as well when you're just doing the block between the cameras and the sound guy. They're looking at angles. They're looking at lighting. They're waiting for clips to come in. They're not listening to your jokes. I did a run through the first episode, a rehearsal, and a camera guy laughed. And I lost my train of thought and everything. And they went, what's wrong? And I went, the camera guy just laughed. This has never happened. And like they all started pissing themselves laughing. I was like, I can't believe it. This never happens in rehearsal. The camera guy laughed. And I got so excited about the joke. I was like, I can't wait to do it in front of the audience. Yeah.
The worst one is for me is when a director or a producer or someone on the floor thinks of the joke that I've thought of, says it in rehearsal, and I think, well, I can't do that now because you've already done the ad lib that I was about to do on the actual real thing. Okay. Have you had an appetite for acting then? Is it something? Did you take any lessons, or did you just do it all naturally?
I just did it. I was absolute luck that one of my best mates wrote a sitcom about his life, and he was too old to play himself, and there's not many affordable Geordie actors kicking about. You've got you've got your Billy Elliot and all them. You got him and all the big boys. But TV, BBC Two style, affordable. Chris Ramsey steps up. Total fluke.
Appetite for it?
Yeah, I do. I would love to get back into it. My wife tells us to all the time. I'd love to just have the time to audition for some stuff.
All right. So the thing I always get confused about comedians is you can't just do your job. You have to do a panel show. You have to do the acting in your sitcom. You have to try and get a movie.
Very greedy.
Isn't just would you just be happy going, I'm just going to tour for the next 20 years, sell out show, get in that buzz you mentioned earlier, Newcastle Arena, whatever. Would you not just be happy?
If I was lying on my deathbed and I'd never done any acting any more than what I've done, I wouldn't be gutted.
But if I offered you that as a career for the next 10, 15 years, you're just going to do a tour every year, stand up, sell out arenas, would you just go, yeah, I'll have that?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you could sort of speak to the bank and nail that down as a mortgage, as like a projection, that would be great.
I'll have a chat with them. But the acting and stuff is just a nice bonus then.
I want to write my own sitcom and star. I want to write and star in something.
What about movies though? When you go into that?
You heard this accent? You're kidding us? British movies maybe. But yeah, it is. I'd love to write and star in my own sitcom. Me and Jason Cook, who wrote Heaven, I've got a good few ideas on the shelf for when he's free and when I'm free, and it's just about becoming free. And you always hear people go, "Oh yeah, we never found the time to do this," and you go, but it's true. Sometimes you just don't have the time to do it. I've got my own show. He's right. He's just wrote a thing called Murder on the Blackpool Express. Yeah, that was on. It was the biggest viewed show on UK Gold I've ever had. Yeah. And he's. I don't fucking know.
That was set on a coach, wasn't it?
Yeah,
with Johnny Vegas.
The cast was insane.
Yeah, unbelievable. We had a load of them on the show. It's
yeah,
incredible. Right, well, there's some questions we ask everyone who come on this show, so I'm going to ask them to you. What one piece of advice would you like to give our listeners that has been invaluable to your life?
I only got this recently, and I wish I could say it was my own advice. It's the greatest thing I heard. It's about having kids. and it is I love it. So please don't poo-poo it.
All right.
The days are long, but the years are short. And I think it's genius for having kids, about enjoying your time with kids, because the days are long. Sometimes I go, will you go to bed?
Yeah.
I know it's 5 o'clock, but go to bed. You've been up since 5, but the days are short. And I'm trying to keep that in my head at the minute. I'm trying to live through that advice of trying to enjoy every minute with my son that I get with him.
100%.
Yeah, days are long, but the years are short.
And turn your phone off when you're with them.
Yeah.
Tough to do, though.
It's very tough to do.
Really tough
especially
to do
when I've got my day off's Wednesday, but my show goes out Wednesday night. So I've got a promo all day. I've got to be doing Instagram. I've got to be doing Twitter. I've got to be letting people know, putting clips out. I'm getting emails, and here's an unseen clip. Put that on. It's got to be done.
What mistake do people make? Maybe if they're stand-ups, or anything else you can think of, but stand-up would be good.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to give you, not even what stand-up, but I'm going to give you a mistake that people make when dealing with stand-ups. A mistake people make a lot of the time in everyday life is expecting me to be 100% hilarious constantly. And that's not a first world problem thing. That's just it's really strange. I can't explain what it's like to go to start a conversation with someone and have them going, just looking at you. They're looking at you and smiling, going, here comes a punchline. I'm going, no, mate, I just want, 10 first class stamps. Like, it's so strange. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, if we're standing and have a bit crack on, we will have some fun. But it's the same, you don't pass a doctor in the street and they don't quickly go, I'll just give you a full physical in the middle of this shopping centre. It's not the way it works. So that's the mistake. People expect us to be funny non-stop, and I'm not.
My favourite on those is Francis Wilson used to be the weatherman at Sky. Yeah. When I used to work at Sky, and he used to walk around. We used to go, Francis, what's the weather like? And he'd just point up to the sky.
It's that, yeah.
And I loved it. He'd just point at the sky.
Brilliant.
And I thought he's been asked so often. He just
great.
What's the weather like? There you go. Give us a bit of advice for people who want to young men and women who want to be stand-ups.
I'll tell you what advice I'm going to give. I'm going to give advice because it's there's a lot of talk at the minute about female comedy, about being more female comics, and I'm going to give advice of if there's any women out there who think that they can't do comedy because they think it's male-dominated, it's not, and don't ever let that hold you back. If you're funny, you're funny. If you think you can be funny, you can be funny. It's got nothing to do with gender or anything. Doing the clubs, is it at all sexist? I think it used to be back in the day. I think I might have got. I think that's why we're doing. We've got a resurgence of female comics coming through now, which is great. But I think it may have been back in the day. I mean, obviously, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
but now, there's loads of millions of funny women coming through now, aren't there?
Thank God. And I'm saying, if there's any women out there thinking, "Oh no, it's a man's thing," it's not. It's mad. You're so wrong. Do it. And anyone, do it. And
do the audience respond exactly the same?
If you're funny,
you're funny.
Doesn't matter about anything else.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be likable if you're funny enough.
That's really
you can
true.
Be a prick.
That's really true. Any books you recommend?
Any books?
I've missed life hacks. Any life hacks? There you go.
Life hacks. Oh, baby wipes. Baby wipes for the win. Baby wipes everywhere. Take them with you. Having a kid, having baby wipes with us all the time. Yeah. They will take anything off anything. I'm serious. You can remove clothing if you rub on yourself hard enough. It's insane.
That's right.
Yeah, love them.
Books you recommend?
Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything.
Oh, I've gone to read that. I've got upstairs. I've gone to read that. I've never done it.
You need to get the newest version though, because so many of the stuff got outdated.
Really?
Because science has moved on so much since he wrote it, but it's brilliant. I wrote a show based on it. It's just about it makes you feel. There's a bit in it that makes you feel really lucky to exist. It's total fluke that we exist. I can't get into it because we're at the end of the podcast, but it's total fluke. We shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel really grateful.
What's it like being famous?
I don't know yet.
Come on.
In the north, it's pretty good because everyone's really nice on the street.
Can you go a day without getting recognised? No.
Yeah, especially in London. No one cares.
Oh yeah, I think London's amazing.
Yeah, no one gives a shit.
No one there. No one.
But everyone in the north's really nice. Everyone in my hometown's lovely. I honestly, when I first moved back after I lived in Manchester, and I used to go to my local Asda, it would always so many people would be pointing, going, "Oh, look, it's him." Now they're like, "Yeah, he shops here, all right, mate."
That's it.
I love the all right, mate. I love it.
Keep doing the same thing, and everyone just treats you the same. But I always think this. I leave London sometimes. I suddenly think, somewhere. It sounds really pretentious, that, doesn't it? But and everyone started looking at me. I'm thinking, why are they looking at me? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm on telly. But in London, no one gives a shit, do they?
Yeah.
Every now and then you catch someone on the tube trying to take a picture of you or something.
When
But,
I feel a real badge of honor if someone recognises in London. I take it like, honestly, I'm like,
what's the meaning of life?
oh man, that is deep. I wish I'd read this email with these questions on so I could have prepared.
I don't put that one on.
Oh yeah, that's the meaning of life. Prepare. Yeah.
Good.
I don't know. Laugh is what I can probably say. Let's just try and enjoy it because it's not going to be here for long.
Very true. Is there an afterlife, Chris?
We'll all find out one day. Either way. Oh, don't mind. I could talk about this. Sometimes, have you ever had that thing where you sit and someone once told me that there's nothing. It's like there's nothing after. It's just nothing. You just die. And they go. They always do the thing where they go, "Can you remember before you were born?" And I go, "No." And they go, "It's like that." And if I lie in bed and I think about that long enough, I'll almost have a panic attack. Like the idea of going, "But nothing. But what do you mean? But I won't know. And it'll be forever. But I won't know it's forever." And oh my god, my nose is bleeding. Like it's. I don't know, and I could talk about it for years. It's crazy.
It's quite bleak, isn't it?
I'd love that to be, but I tell you what, I mean, London's packed as it is. Imagine an afterlife with everyone who's died. Everyone who's died since the beginning. Imagine the queue for the toilets. Shit the bed. You will. You'll have to shit the bed. You'll have to shit the bed.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for coming along. Tickets for your UK stand-up tour.
ChrisRamseyComedy.com on sale now, brother.
Yeah, just happy to get out of the house tour, isn't it? And the show is on
Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Comedy Central.
The Chris Ramsey Show.
It's almost like it's my job.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thanks, mate.
That was Chris Ramsey. Lovely bloke. Has just left. Became a little bit obsessed with the hot water tap, didn't he, before he left?
He did. He's brilliant. I'm almost a bit exhausted. He's got so much energy, isn't he?
Yeah. I like the fact he was eyeing up the hot water tap and he was looking at it going, I'm really impressed by this. I really like it. Tell you what, hot water taps, there's going to be one day that people are going to go, do you remember kettles? It's going to happen, I tell you. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Listen, let us know what you thought of it. Get writing in. We're going to do another mailbag special soon. So make sure you keep the letters in so we can keep updating on what you lot are thinking and keep doing it. If you've got any problems, send them in as well. I can always answer that. The Twitter address is @TimLovejoy. And email address is dearlovejoypodcast@gmail.com. You can subscribe to us. Please do that. And you can rate us 5 stars. Mark keeps promising very soon we'll do comments off iTunes.
iTunes, yes, and we do a mailbag one.
We'll do those very soon. So anyway, we'll see you very shortly, in a couple of days, hopefully, with another podcast. Until then, peace and love, joy.
Bye.